Hail. Don't shout yay there. All of now, when you say you don't know response, you go to shout yay. Now hail. Afabo Pastor Chinko, as I said earlier, in case you speak Yoruba so well, Omo Badan kini so ni kila jelana ìwọ tó jẹ panla ló sọ pé rasiki kila fi jókòó kúṣí sí àná lẹsọ pẹ̀lú plastic chair tó fi jókòó yẹn ẹlòmí àgbórin ló fi jókòó yóò sọ pé kúṣí sí à. Anyway, all joy. But if you speak Chinese so well and you want to pronounce my name, you don't write it on paper, you record it on your radio, on your phone. Or enemies, you call it this way. Say la for you. Say Chinese logo, it means Pastor Chinko. Now my name, maybe your name. Igara saying Aloore Radio. Keep listening to them. Aye adalatibe. Ogweade gbera.
Wonderful morning to you out there, our listener. You're welcome to Aloore Radio. We are transmitting from the GSM studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. The program we have for you now is Newspaper Review. My name is Olukemi Omotosho, and I have with me
Eneyo Asukwa.
The newspaper I'm going to read is the Nigerian Tribune, and he has...
I have the Punch newspaper.
Okay. The first story I'm going to read from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune says, alleged 80 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests Accountant General of the Federation. That can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And the first story coming from the Punch newspaper, timetable. INEC talks tough as 18 parties fail to conduct primaries. No going back on election timetable. June 3rd deadline. INEC warns parties. APC orders intensify lobbying as commission says terminal date for primaries fixed. PDP postpones governor senate primaries for the third time. Cites IPOB seats at home.
And on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, I have soaring food price. Fuel scarcity push inflation rate to 16.82%. That can be found on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. I also have another one that says editors reaffirm commitment to defense of democracy, press freedom. That can be found on page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Amid failed negotiation, NRC to resume Abuja Kaduna train services. Page 19, the Punch newspaper.
I have the same story that says Abuja Kaduna train to resume passenger operations May 23rd. That can be found on the second page of the Nigerian Tribune.
Blasphemy, mob action criminal in Islam. Deborah's killing on Islamic, says President Muslim Lawyers Association.
And the same story can be found on page 4 and 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Deborah, 34 lawyers appear for 2 suspects in Sokoto. Charges against alleged killers Watri Adegorua.
Federal government extends money laundering law to casinos. Others bans shell accounts.
ASU strike. Protesting students block highways in Ondo, Oyo, Ogun, Edo. That can be found on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 30 of the Punch, fraud. EFCC arrest Accountant General, alleges 80 billion naira diversion. Electoral
Act Section 84, subsection 12. Supreme Court to air Buhari Malami's suit, May 19. That can be found on page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 29, NCDC warns against rats over monkeypox, Lassa fever.
Gunmen kills 6 in Kano. 2 soldiers in Anambra adopt lawmaker, burn local government secretariat, magistrates court. That can be found on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 2, Northern, Southwest, South presidential aspirants, greedy, selfish, Kalu.
Sylvia withdraws from presidential race. Talent drops senatorial ambition. Amechi resigns. Page 22, 2 and 26 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Also from page 22 of the Punch newspaper, dollar eats 600 naira at parallel market. FX supply shrinks.
And APC primaries. Sanwo-Olu gets Mustafa challenge.
Lagos bans campaign posters, orders on major highways. Page 29, the Punch.
PSC promotes Magu Onodeko, 6 others as AIG. 2 DIG's appointments confirmed. That can be found on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from page 5, school driver bags life jail for defiling 5-year-old pupil.
And with that, we'll go on a short break to be back for the details of the newspaper review. Let's go. The first story I'm going to read is taken from the second page of the Nigerian Tribune. It says, alleged 80 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Monday arrested the Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Ahmed Idris, in connection with diversion of funds and money laundering activities to the tune of 80 billion naira. EFCC spokesman Wilson Wajoren informed that the Commission's verified intelligence showed that Idris raked off the funds through bogus consultations and other illegal activities using proxies, family members, and close associates. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And from
alleged 80 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris.
And from page 2 of the Punch newspaper, timetable. INEC talks tough as 18 parties fail to conduct primaries. The Independent National Electoral Commission has vowed not to extend the June 3rd, 2022 deadline for primaries, even as the Punch observed on Monday that none of the 18 political parties had conducted their presidential primaries 3 weeks to the deadline. A document obtained from INEC on Monday showed that the Accord Party scheduled its primaries for June 2, while the Action Alliance fixed its own for June 3rd. For more details, turn to page 2 of the Punch newspaper. INEC talks tough as 18 parties failed to conduct primaries.
On page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune, government sets local government secretariat, magistrate courts ablaze in Anambra, Southeast youths condemn attack. Government on Sunday set ablaze Idemili North Local Government Secretariat in Ogidi, Anambra State, and a magistrate court in the area. A source said the assailants stormed the premises of the council area at night to perpetrate the crime, burning all documents and properties in the secretariat, including the secretariat building. Videos and pictures circulating on social media showed all the buildings and vehicles in the council secretariat were reduced to rubble. The State Police Command has also confirmed the development, attributing it to unidentified arsonists. While confirming the development, the State Police Public Relations Officer PPRO DSP Tochukwu Ikenga said, "Our men were there to restore normalcy. Right now, the fire has been put out and calm has been restored to the area," he said. For the rest of that troublesome story, you can turn to page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. Government sets local government secretariats, magistrate courts ablaze in Anambra.
And still on page 2 of the Punch newspaper, Northern, Southwest, South presidential aspirants, greedy, selfish. Kalu, the former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, has taken a swipe at presidential aspirants from the North, Southwest, and South, describing them as selfish and greedy. He expressed his reservations on Monday while featuring on Politics Today, a current affairs program on Channels Television. He also criticized former President Olusegun Obasanjo and an elder statesman leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Chief Edwin Clark, for failing to push for an Igbo president. For more details, turn to page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Northern, Southwest, South presidential aspirants greedy, selfish. Kalu.
And on page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune, Supreme Court to hear Buhari Malami's suit on Section 84, subsection 12, Thursday, as court adjourns hearing in PDP suits against Buhari on Electoral Act till May 24. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has fixed May 19, 2022, to hear the suit filed by President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation, AJF, and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami's son, over Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act. The matter has been slated on the course list of the court for the week. In the suit, filed on April 29, 2022, marked SC/0 CV/504/2022 by President Buhari and the Chief Law Officer of the country, wherein they are contending that the said section of the Electoral Act 2022 is in conflict with constitutional provisions as the National Assembly as the sole defendant. The plaintiffs noted that 1990 Constitution as amended has made provisions for qualifications and disqualifications of the offices of the President and Vice President, Governor, Deputy Governor, Senate, House of Representatives and House of Assembly, Ministers, Commissioners and Special Advisers. Buhari and Malami added that the same constitution has equally stated that the qualifying factors for election into the office of President, Vice President, Governor, Deputy Governor, Senate, House of Representatives, House of Assembly and Ministers. They also prayed that the Apex Court to declare that by the joint and or combined reading of Section 65, 66, 106, 107, 131, 137, 147, 151, 177, 182, 192 and 196 of the 1999 Constitution as amended the provisions of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022, which also ignores Sections 84, subsection 3 of the same Act, is an additional disqualifying and or disqualifying factor for the National Assembly. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune. Supreme Court to hear Buhari Malami's suit on Section 84, subsection 12, Thursday.
And from the Metro page of the Punch, a blogger arrested over reports on Ogun Governor lawyer slams Abiodun. The Department of State Services has reportedly arrested a blogger, Ahmed Olamilekan, for allegedly publishing a story on Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun. The report was said to be on Abiodun's alleged criminal records in the United States. Olamilekan's lawyer, Festus Ogun, said his client had been in detention since Friday after he honored an invitation by the Ogun State Command of the Secret Police. He accused the governor of instigating his client's arrest, adding that Abiodun had the right to challenge the publication in court instead of using the DSS to harass the reporter. For more details, turn to page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Blogger arrested over reports on Ogun Governor. Lawyer slams Abiodun.
And on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune, Abuja Kaduna train to resume operation next Monday. The federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Transportation, has directed the resumption of the Abuja Kaduna train services, AKTS, from Monday, May 23rd. The statement signed by the spokesman of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, Mohammed Yakub, on Monday. The corporation said efforts are ongoing to rescue the abducted passengers of the attacked Abuja Kaduna train. According to NRC, concerted joint efforts to secure and safe release of the abducted passengers being held hostage by the terrorists continues out of public domain for strategic security reasons. However, the government wishes to assure the relatives of the abducted citizens still in captivity that the safe rescue of their passengers is a top priority and that they should not misconstrue the resumption of the train service as abandonment or nonchalant attitude of the government towards their plight. He said, and I quote, "The federal government will never abdicate its responsibility in rescuing these valuable citizens. The government assures of its resolve not to succumb to threats by any faceless group." For the rest of that story, you can still turn to page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Abuja Kaduna train to resume operation next Monday.
And from page 6 of the Punch, Lagos State government inducts 76 new officers. The Lagos State Public Service Office has organized an induction for 76 new officers comprising of 53 administrative and human resource officers, 17 executive officers and 6 officers on transfer of service to the mainstream civil service. The training is expected to keep officers abreast of civil service matters, expectations on conversion or transfer of service and provision of essential information about their new career paths. For more details, turn to page 6 of the Punch newspaper.
And on education, UTME parents express worry over backlog of admissions following ASU strikes. Some parents have expressed worry over the backlog of admissions following incessant strikes by the Academic Staff Union of the University, ASU. It was gathered that ASU went on a 9-month strike, the longest since 1999, and about 2 years later, on February 14th, it went on a 4-week warning strike. It declared another 8-week strike, saying it was giving the government more time to attend to its demand. Upon the expiration, it announced an additional 12 weeks rollover with effect from May 9 to end in August. However, due to the challenges of industrial actions and the corona-induced break, most public tertiary institutions have backlogs of candidates yet to be officially admitted, with the results of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) conducted in 2021. The new results released by the examination body will therefore constitute another backlog for many of these institutions. The parents who spoke in separate interviews on Monday in Abuja were concerned that the actions might affect admission process for candidates who sat for previous and the just concluded examination. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. UTME parents express worry over backlog of admissions following ASU strikes.
ASU ex-minister faults state varsities, protest rocks Southwest Edo. The immediate past Minister of State for Education, Chukwumeka Nwajuba, has faulted lecturers of state universities who are participating in the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. While saying state universities have no business in the ongoing strike, Nwajuba, who resigned last week due to his presidential ambition, explained that most of ASU's demands center on challenges being faced by federal universities. For more details, turn to page 8 of the Punch newspaper. ASU ex-minister faults state varsities, protest rocks Southwest Edo State.
Still on the protest, students block major highways in Ondo, Edo, Oyo, Ogun over ASU strike. Students from public tertiary institutions in some states on Monday converged and blocked major highways to protest the prolonged strike embarked upon by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. In Ondo State, the protesting students barricaded the busy Akure-Ilesha-Owo road as early as 8 a.m., hindering vehicular movement, while travelers and residents were stranded for several hours. The protest is coming 2 days after students of Adekunle Ajasin University, AAUA, blocked the Agbaye highway to register their grievances over the continued closure of public universities in the country. Students from the Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa, AAUA, and Olusegun Agagu University of Technology, Okitipupa, were armed with placards with various inscriptions. Also, students in Ogun State blocked the Shagamu-Benin Expressway. The joint protest had in attendance students from Olabisi Onabanjo University, OOU, Agoiwoye, Tai Solarun University of Education, Tausied, Ijagun, and Federal University of Agriculture, FUNAB, Abeokuta. It's reported that the students stormed the Tausied axis and blocked the express, leaving many motorists stranded and travelers strapped. Speaking on the protest ground, the chairman National Association of Nigerian Students, NAS, in the state, Damilola Siamon, appealed to the federal government to respond urgently to the yearnings of ASU. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. Students block major highways in Ondo, Edo, Oyo, Ogun over ASU strike.
African businesses face more cyber attacks over digital skills shortage. Experts. Concerns over the growing shortage of general digital skills occasioned by the brain drain in Africa. They said such development would lead to a rise in cyber attacks and crimes with catastrophic consequences for businesses, governments, and citizens. For more details, turn to page 23 of the Punch newspaper. African businesses face more cyber attacks over digital skills shortage. Experts.
On page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune, Sanwo-Olu gets Mustafa challenge. I have what it takes to address yearnings of Lagosians, Mustafa says. Ahead of the May 20 governorship primary of the All Progressive Congress, APC, An aspirant on the party's platform, Mr. Abdulhamed Oloronfemi Mustafa, on Monday said he has what it takes to address some of the yearnings of people of Lagos, listing education, healthcare and infrastructure as his topmost priorities. Mustafa, a former permanent secretary in the state's Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, said he is determined to address and change the narrative in other sectors, including power, if elected as the next governor of Lagos State. The governorship hopeful said the people will see a Lagos that work for everyone, irrespective of party affiliation, religion, tribe, and other differences. Mustafa, while speaking with newsmen, said he will bring his vast experience in both private and public sectors, which he garnered at home and abroad, to bear. He said Lagos deserved the best, saying it was uniquely placed to be able to address the power issue, leveraging on his support for the telecommunication industry. For the rest of that story, please turn to page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Sanwo-Olu gets Mustafa challenge. I have what it takes to address yearnings of Lagosians, Mustafa says.
NCDC warns against rats over monkeypox, Lassa fever. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has warned Nigerians to avoid bushmeat and rats following the resurgence of monkeypox and Lassa fever cases. While speaking on Sunrise Daily, a channel's television program on Monday, the Director General of the NCDC, Ifedayo Adetifa, said there have been sporadic cases of monkeypox and there is no outbreak. He said, I think it is important that we shun or be careful. I prefer to use shun in handling all bushmeats. For more details, turn to page 29 of the Punch newspaper. NCDC warns against rats over monkeypox, Lassa fever.
And still talking about food, on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune, soaring food prices, fuel scarcity push inflation rate to 16.82%. Nigerians' inflation rose to 16.82% in April 2022, following a similar uptick recorded in the previous month as a result of the increase in energy and food prices. This represents the highest rate recorded since August 2021, highest in 8 months. The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), in its Consumer Price Index reported the release on Monday, noted that on a month-on-month basis, the headline index increased by 1.76% in April 2022 compared to 1.74% increase recorded in the previous month. The Consumer Price Index, which measures the rate of inflation, rose by 16.82% year-on-year in April 2022, which is 0.9% points higher than the 15.92% recorded in the previous month of March 2022. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Soaring food prices, fuel scarcity push inflation rate to 16.82%.
Bello's achievement and theirs aim to me, Afsat Abiola. The Director General of the Yaya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization, Afsat Abiola Costello, has said the governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, has the qualities of the kind of leader Nigeria needs this time, which is why she is backing him to clinch the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. For more details, turn to page 29 of the Punch newspaper. Bello's achievements and there's aim to me, Afsat Abiola.
To end today's newspaper review, we want you to join us on all social handles. The Facebook is at Aloore Radio and the YouTube is also at Aloore Radio. Our website remains www.aloreradio.com. Our studio line is 09039853731. 09039853731. The last story I'm going to read says, I paid 120,000 to driver who agreed to convey the remains of my late daughter, Deborah's father. The father of the late Deborah Samuel, Emmanuel Gaba, has revealed that he paid the sum of 120,000 naira to the driver of the vehicle who agreed to convey the remains of his daughter who was killed by a mob over an alleged blasphemy in Sokoto last week Saturday. This was even as he said all the drivers he approached to convey the body of his daughter refused to take her in their vehicles. Speaking in an interview with some journalists after the burial of his daughter, Garba explained that when he heard about what happened to his daughter, he hurried down to Sokoto to retrieve the remains of his daughter, who was deposited at the morgue. He said that there was no point to continue to delay her burial since she was dead and nobody could bring her back. Garba, who is a security personnel with the Niger State Water Works Corporation at Tungan, Magajiya, said he cannot say or do anything except to take it easy as an act of God. For the rest of that story, you can turn to page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. I paid 120,000 naira to the driver who agreed to convey the remains of my late daughter.
And that's where we draw the curtain close. Do stay tuned for more of our programs live here on Aloore Radio. I remain my humble self, Eneo Asukwa.
And my name is Olukemi Omotosho. Have a wonderful day.
SafeMusicList.com, royalty-free music for marketing and promotional videos. SafeMusicList.com, royalty-free music for marketing and promotional videos. SafeMusicList.com, royalty-free music for marketing and promotional videos. SafeMusicList.com, royalty-free.
ọgbà tí àṣejìná lòdì ìrànjẹ làwọn aláṣejòkòtì tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa jẹ ọba ni wọ́n ó ṣe gàyà díẹ̀ ná ìlú ló láṣẹ ẹjẹ́ ìlú ó jẹun náà ìdí nìyí tó fi jẹ́ pé ẹ̀tọ́ ìlú là ń fowó ìlú ṣe nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ rí bí ní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa ṣe ń jògèrè LAUTECH ti di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé bíi 40 ló ti wẹ̀wọ̀ ọ̀tún pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tòun tòògùn àti irinṣẹ́ tó pójú owó iṣẹ́ sì ti fẹ́ẹ̀ parí pẹ̀lú lórí 100 míì jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ààbò tó dájú ohun amáyédẹrùn ní ìṣokùnfà ìdásílẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá láwùjọ òun náà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fi wà nípò kẹta nínú àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí ń pawó wọlé jùlọ lábẹ́lé nílẹ̀ wa ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ ló ti láǹfààní ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lọ́nà ti gbàlódé táṣeyọrí yìí ó sì jẹ́ kó ń jẹ́ sùn wá bọ̀ láìpẹ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àtòṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbowó wọn lásìkò pápá àṣírí Adámàsìngbà àtàwọn inú ojú pópó tí ń sòrú dọ̀sán ń kọ́ àwọn ìlú ti sọ pásì ìwádùn níṣèjọba yìí fi ń mọrírì gbogbo àwọn aláṣẹ gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ló ń sọ fún wa pé pẹ̀lú ìṣọ̀kan wa oòrùn tó kù lókè yìí ó táṣọ ọgbẹ.
iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.